Welcome to A Few Minutes with the CEO. My name is Al O'Grady, and for the next few minutes, we'll be talking to the President and CEO of Cornerstone Resources, Mr. Glen McKay. Cornerstone Resources has a number of properties in Atlantic Canada and also in Ecuador, where they're looking for gold, copper, nickel, uranium, and rare earth elements. The company has a diversified portfolio and has made significant advances with its interests in Ecuador. We'll be talking about that and, more importantly, where they're headed in just a moment. Cornerstone Resources trades on the TSX Venture Exchange under the symbol CGP, on the over-the-counter bulletin board under the symbol CTNXF, and on the Frankfurt under the symbol GWN. Mr. McKay, welcome to the program.
Thank you, Al. It's a pleasure to be with you.
Okay. Glenn, as I said in my introduction, so many properties, yet so little time. I think we'll just have to hit the highlights. As I said, Ecuador has certainly been front and center with you. Give us a snapshot in terms of past, present, and future with your projects in Ecuador.
Yes, I'd be happy to do so. In 2005, we initiated our entry into Ecuador. Within the next 2 years, we spent pretty close to $10 million exploring what we thought were several high-potential properties. We were successful in attracting two joint venture partners down there, Newmont. Currently, we're working with them in the south on one of those properties. We have a couple of others that we haven't said much about, but in the coming year, we expect we will. And then, of course, the one that most people are familiar with is our Sherry property in the south of Ecuador as well, where in short order we were able to discover three properties, three portions, I should say, on that property, and bring them to the drill-ready stage: Canarabamba, Vetas Grande, and Gamma. We are hoping to be in a position in the not-too-distant future whereby we'll have our approvals from the government of Ecuador to commence drilling on those drill-ready properties. Now, I'd like to talk about the Gamma prospect itself for just a minute. It's a pretty impressive property. It's very close to IM Gold's 3.4 million ounce Quimsacocha gold deposit. We're just 12 kilometers to the northeast of that property. Our target zone is fairly big. It's a minimum area of 8.5 kilometers by 3 kilometers. It's a high sulfidation alteration system. We've done extensive geological, geochemical, and geophysical surveys over the prospect, and we've outlined several high priority targets, which will be the focus of the initial drilling. And what's interesting, Al, about those targets is that they are all coincidental. In other words, they all line up. The geologist that designed the drill program that we'll be doing initially on Gamma when we get the green light told me personally, he said, I've never designed a drill program that was so easy to do.
Glenn, you said an awful lot as far as your prospects in Ecuador are concerned. As a point of reference for our audience, the date of today's recording, Friday, November 12th, can you get a little bit more specific in terms of a timeline, in terms of your expectations as far as drilling, and any other expectations that you might see like in the short term, the next 3 months, specifically for Ecuador?
I can't give you a specific timeline, but, we are looking forward to it being a matter of, I would say weeks, but, again, I can't be sure. But we are hopeful that we will be drilling in the first quarter at the latest of 2011.
Okay, having said that, I know you got lots of projects on the go, but just one last final comment before we leave Ecuador. What makes this so opportunistic, I guess? Why are you so bullish? That's the word I'm looking for. Why are you so bullish on Ecuador going forward? If you can outline your reasons for that in short order.
When we first went to Ecuador, we felt an underexplored region. We were looking for a place that was underexplored where we could, we felt, bring some properties forward very quickly. And we've done that. And I think we and other people that have worked there with their major discoveries have demonstrated the huge potential in Ecuador. The government also has recognized that, and that was part of the reason, I think, that they imposed a mining moratorium and put in a new mining law. They wanted to keep out speculators, people who tie up huge amounts of land and never do any work on it. Cornerstone has been recognized by the government of Ecuador as a serious explorer, and we're one of the 7 Canadian mining companies that they've been negotiating with and discussing with and working with. And we're going to be a player there in the short term and in the long term.
Okay, we will certainly be keeping our eyes on this story, and certainly you're watching for future press releases regarding your developments in Ecuador. Let's move on, closer to home. Newfoundland, you have some interesting developments, a number of properties, Little Deer, El Strado, Red Cliff. Glenn, give us the report card.
Little Deer is in the historic Green Bay mining district. It's actually in an area where there were 2 other mines, both of which are non-existent now, of course, Whalesback and Little Deer. Since we started working there about 3 years ago, we've been successful in coming up with a 43101 resource estimate of about 3.5 million tons, grading about 2.3% copper. We feel that there is potential for us to increase that in the next round of drilling, which is under consideration at this moment. There's a potential for us to reach our goal of 5 million tons is what we've been saying, but with current copper price at $4 and the recent metallurgical results that we had done showing a 97% copper recovery with a very low cost of milling, I think makes this a property a very interesting one. The next round of drilling should be ongoing late in the year 2010 and early in 2011. We have an important date of July whereby we have to decide if we're going to complete the earn-in on that property, and so we want to have all the data that we can have at our fingertips by that time. But we're very bullish on that property. We think it has some great potential.
Okay, similar story, I guess, with El Strado.
Well, El Strado is a little different. We're not at the point where we have a resource. However, it's a property that has had a lot of historical work, and we've been working up there for probably about 5 years. Gold, you can find it just about anywhere. It's a shear-hosted, orogenic, mesothermal style quartz vein gold system.
That's easy for you to say, Glenn.
Well, I can read those things quite easily, you see, Al.
Yeah.
But anyways, lots of gold, but it's you find it in isolated areas. It's in veins. It's in boulders and so forth. Some of it has been phenomenal, up to 155 grams per ton. Several companies have been up there and drilled and found interesting results, but again, very isolated. So we went back at it this summer, with a trenching campaign, and we were able to identify a 1.25 long trend that represents a newly discovered target area. And another interesting point is that it's up ice of some of these boulders that have assayed, over 100 grams per ton of gold. So in that 1.25 long trend, we have a 55-meter wide iron carbonate alteration zone with quartz veining and gold samples that we've been able to prove that's there through lab assaying. So this alteration zone is really, truly a significantly wide gold-bearing zone that we've identified, and that's going to be the focus of drilling. We're going to be starting a campaign there this winter, so that's another one to watch. But the drilling, of course, again, will tell the story. At least the first phase, I hope, will give us enough encouragement to move forward. But that's one to watch as well.
Okay, and another one that you're watching, Red Cliff. I know you wanted to comment on that one.
Well, Red Cliff, what we might describe as an elephant-type target. It's analogous to the huge Zambian copper deposits in West Africa. In fact, the age of the rocks we're working in and the type of rocks are exactly the same. We've done tremendous work there since the start of Cornerstone, first with Phelps Dodge and then with Noranda. We've proven that this is a legitimate sediment-hosted stratiform copper deposit. Drilling has shown that there is mineable ore grade and width there. The problem is, again, finding enough of it in one area to show that there's a mine there. Just recently, Vale, the old CVRD out of Brazil, they have tremendous experience in red bed copper. They staked some of the land that we had actually held over the years, and then we were able to work at a deal with them on the portion of the ground that we still had, which was what we thought was the juiciest part of that area from the work we'd done. So we made a deal. They're working, earning into that property. They are currently drilling as we speak. We are hopeful that, again, that they're going to find some things they like. At this moment, that property, if they're able to find it, that could be a real sleeper for us. It's got tremendous attributes to it. It's on tidewater. It's in a mining-friendly jurisdiction. Paved roads, airport, water, human resource, everything is there. If we can prove by drilling that there is a bulk tonnage target there, I think it could be quite significant.
Okay. Glen, I have literally talked to hundreds of presidents and CEOs of small cap companies over the last few years, and I love asking this question. I hope I'm not putting you on the spot, but if I am, so be it. The retail investor that's doing his due diligence, maybe he's looking at you guys or he's looking at another junior resource company. What is it that sets you guys apart from another junior resource company down the street?
Of course, anything I say to you is going to be very subjective. You realize that.
Of course.
But I think one thing that investors look for is stability and longevity. Resource companies come and go, and some, have not always been around for a long time. We've been at this for 13 years. I personally, I'm a co-founder of the company, and I personally never sold a share. I've continued to be a buyer. That's one thing. The other thing is, at this particular moment, I feel that Cornerstone is poised for a breakout. We've got the things that I've mentioned there earlier, these 4 project areas. In addition to that, we have some other things that we haven't mentioned because time will not allow us to do so. My expectation is that 2011, if all these things work as we're working hard to bring them together, this could be one of the highest years of diamond drilling activity in our company. But these are not on just, grassroots properties. These are on either, brownfield properties or properties that we have demonstrated from the work we've done just have tremendous potential. So for those reasons, I think that the average investor would be wise to look. However, a word of caution, which I tell everybody, the junior resource sector is risky. And make sure that when you do invest in that sector, not only if it's Cornerstone, but any company, only invest what you can afford to lose. Are we hopeful? Yes. Are we optimistic? Yes. But are we absolutely certain? No.
Glen, I have literally interviewed maybe about 300 different presidents and CEOs, and you, sir, are the very first one to have made that statement. And for that, I commend you on that. And I would certainly think that speaks volumes as far as your credibility and your integrity. Glen, on that note, I want to thank you very much for your time and sharing your thoughts with us about Cornerstone Resources.
It's been a pleasure, Al. Thank you.
Okay. And Cornerstone Resources trades on the TSX Venture Exchange under the symbol CGP, on the over-the-counter under the symbol CTNXF, and on the Frankfurt under the symbol GWN. And you've been listening to Glen McKay, President and CEO of Cornerstone Resources, on A Few Minutes with the CEO. For RBL Communications, I'm Al O'Grady. Thanks for joining us.